Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Kindness Hour. They titled this the Kindness Hour with Nicole J. Phillips, which sounds very serious and very professional. But yeah, I'm Nicole. This is the Kindness Hour. And dun, da, 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 this is Nathan Hofer from Lost.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, how
Hi.
you doing?
How are you doing? How are you doing today?
Well, I'm
I'm
great, but you didn't answer the question. So
sorry. There was feedback. I didn't know. I just guessed. I guessed.
okay. I was
What was the
asking how
question?
you are. How are you
I'm
doing?
good. I'm good. It's a good day. We went on a walk with my girls, carrying one and pushing the other. So it's a good day.
Oh, that's sweet. It is. That's the first question I want to ask everyone actually is um, here in Aberdeen, it's almost a shame to be in my office here because it is 71 and we never get days like this and it's beautiful. So I want to know, maybe everyone can send me an emoji like are you like chattering teeth? Are you cold where you are? Is it like sadness, like it's really cloudy, or sunshine, or where what's the weather report from where people are? I'd love to know. What's the weather report by you, Nathan?
It's beautiful. It's like 75 in Sioux Falls, so it was great. Yeah, I would agree. It's almost criminal to be inside today.
Yeah, but it's not. So we're going to talk for
No,
an hour about the science
absolutely.
behind kindness. Let's do it. And one thing that I need to really clarify right away is on the last video, Nathan, that we did last Wednesday. We had it live, but then we also had it recorded for people to watch. And my mother was very concerned because she said, "Where is your wedding ring?" So apparently it looked like I had taken off my wedding ring, but ta-da, Mom, I know you're watching. And I am like, Beyonce, put a ring on it. He put a ring on it, so now I wear the ring. And yeah, I thought that was a super funny story. My mom was like, "Why don't you have a wedding ring on?"
It's hilarious.
Okay, Nathan Hofer from Lost and Found. I would love for you to tell us what Lost and Found is. And there's you got a great, awesome grant to help lots of people. So you have lots of things that are coming up also.
We do. First off, I think you're having too much fun with the typing feature. I can tell.
Do, 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 do.
Yeah. So, like you said, Nicole, I'm Nathan Hofer with the Lost and Found Association. So we're a local nonprofit here in Sioux Falls. We're South Dakota based. We're at South Dakota State, USD, Dakota Wesleyan, University of Sioux Falls, and Augustana University here in South Dakota. We're looking at expanding into our surrounding states. So what we focus on is we focus on collegiate mental health. We focus on building preventative factors for students. We focus specifically on resilience. That thing that when life knocks you down, as it inevitably does, it'll we're trying to give them tangible skills and communities and support just to deal with those things. So we can be mentally and physically well, and have a strong base, so we don't have to think about self-harm behaviors or suicide or anything like that. So that's where we live. But right now we're all living digitally, so we're putting it out, all our stuff out to anyone and everyone. We want to. It's social distancing looks a lot like social isolation, and we want to be part of filling that gap. So yeah, that's just a little bit of who we are, and we are doing a lot of online programming. We're doing stuff like this. We have a student loan boot camp tomorrow. We have yeah, we're working with one of our local chiropractors in town here in Vive Chiropractic. They're doing a session on I think it's called the Magnificent Seven, so the 7 dimensions of wellness. We've done some breath work, some journaling workshops, and then we have with our first chapter that we ever made was at USD, and they're doing this really cool fundraiser on May 3rd. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's called Nikki's Run, not Nicole, but it could be yours. You can claim it if you want. But it's no, it's Nikki's Run, and it's normally it's a 5K. It's in honor of a student who who committed suicide at when they were at USD, and so we really honor her in this process. But we can't do the 5K in the same way, so we're doing a virtual 5K. So people do 5Ks from their home, whether it's on a treadmill or running in their neighborhood. And so
I'm in.
It's unique. It's weird. Yeah, I'll get the link and I'll drop it in the Facebook chat here. But it's just like, it's a weird time. So that's one that I'm really excited that we're gonna try out and get to support our very first Lost and Found chapter. So that's just some of the stuff we've got going on. Yeah, we just want to be in this space and hanging out with everyone and trying to make the world a little bit better place right now when it's tough.
Yeah. Yep. But I love that that's your heart, to make the world a better place, right? And when we start there, then we just realize, kindness becomes so easy, because from the heart it just flows, that I just want to share this space with you. I want you to feel better about the day, and in turn I end up feeling better about the day. And so that's kind of the whole thing about kindness. So let's see who's here. Let's see if we can give a little shout out to some people. I'm going to see. By
the way, Tanya, I will definitely drive the golf cart for you. As long as you don't ask me to golf, I'll drive the golf cart.
Golf courses are open.
She said she wants me to be her beer runner. I mean, I guess. Do I get to have some of it too, or is it just me? I don't know. Whatever.
Lisa Hunter says, yes, you can have beer and golf too. Lisa Hunter says, we got some partly sunny skies. And let's see. Tracy, hello, Tracy. She says hi with a smile. So I'm going to assume that maybe it's sunny in her world. And this is a good one from Tanya, that she'd love to see Lost and Found at NDSU. And maybe you can talk about what your long-term goal is, Nathan, before we hop in here.
Absolutely. I mean, we're actually we were in the process of talking with, by the way, that's really cool that you can pull the Facebook comments up. I love this. This is good find, Nicole, good find, StreamYard, good find. We are looking at, we're actually talking to some schools in Minnesota, and we'd love to go to North Dakota and Iowa and Nebraska. Like, we're looking regionally. So if there's folks who are interested and want to chat, I'll also drop, beside that link for the Nikki's Run race, I'll also drop a link to, I'll just give you my email in there. So feel free to reach out. We'd love to be at NDSU. I mean, I'm an SDSU grad, so I guess I'm kind of like, but I can humble myself enough to be, maybe we get beat every year in football, unfortunately, but that's fine.
I'm a former NDSUer, and so you and I have learned to bridge that gap and really get along. So I think yes, yeah, for the good kind, we can do it. All right, so Nathan, I am going to take your name off of there and hop into the science behind kindness. So this is pretty exciting, because last week we talked about thinking about what you're thinking about, right? And we talked about how you don't have to think about everything that enters your mind. And that's really important. So we talked about how what's going on in your brain can affect how you're feeling. But that happens in multiple different ways. But what we talked about last week was rejecting your thoughts and then replacing with a more powerful thought, a healthier thought, something like that. So that's what we talked about last week. And this week, we're going to build on that with the science behind kindness. But first, I want to pull up my friend Nathan one more time, and then I want to share my screen with you. Now, this is very technological for me, so forgive me when this all goes wrong. But let's see if I can share a screen. Oh, here it is. I knew there was a button for this. Okay. We are going to share this. Nathan, help me out. Can you see this picture?
Not yet. I don't know what button you pressed before when we tried it, but it did work. I saw it work. Oh, here it comes. Oh boy. Yeah, nope. I see that picture.
Will you tell me what that picture is?
I don't know. It looks like someone making some interesting life decisions. That's someone being me. No, that's they don't exist anymore. That's a Warrior Dash run that me and a few friends, we drove to Minnesota to go do. My wife was actually pregnant at the time. We got her. She was gonna run, and then she didn't because she was pregnant. So
come on.
Yeah, that was fun. That's one of towards the end of the obstacles there for that. We had already gone through a lot of mud and it was just a 5K, thankfully, and the rest of my friend group was in much better shape, so they hung out with me. That was kind.
So Nathan, I have questions about this that I think all of our friends who are hanging out with us might. I'm going to make a point on this, but I have some questions for you. First of all, you kind of told us what was happening. You're doing this warrior run. I know they have mud runs and tough mudders and all of this. And my question is, right before you started this race, how were you feeling?
Pretty good. I mean, this is one that I've done a couple of these mud runs before, but it was a 5K, so I was like, it can't be that bad. You know, it's just a 5K. You know, if it was a tough mudder or one of those other ones, those are a lot farther. So I was feeling pretty good. I was feeling like it was going to be fun. We weren't doing it necessarily for time. We were just doing it to have this experience together as a group of friends. And there was a lot of fire at the beginning. You know, shoots of fire straight in the air. So I mean, that's always fun.
So you were pumped up, you were confident, you weren't nervous. There wasn't anxiety about, can I do this, or is this going to feel yucky, or any of that?
Not really, because I knew at the end of the day I could walk the whole thing and it wouldn't be a big deal. You know, I wasn't in it to win anything, because that wasn't going to happen. And we were just doing it for fun.
Okay. As you were doing it, I'd like to ask you, were you at any point thinking about how fat you might or might not look?
No, I was thinking how to keep the mud out of my eyes mostly.
Okay. Were you thinking about how any of the other people on the course might have a bigger bank account than you have?
No, that never crossed my mind.
Okay, all right. Were you worried about your aging parents or anything like that, or your pregnant wife and how she might be going into birth at that exact moment and you wouldn't be there? Any of that?
No. And if she had gone into labor at that point, that would have been super early, and that wasn't even on the radar.
Okay. As you were running this, were you thinking about how you were going to juggle getting home, getting showered, getting to the grocery store, going to the post office, and picking up your kid from daycare? Were you thinking about any of those things?
No, I was not. I was thinking about putting one foot in front of the other and trying to make it to the end.
Yeah. And so I feel like, thank you, Nathan. I feel like kindness is a lot like that, where, well, maybe Nathan, I should ask this. How did you feel when it was over?
Pretty good. You know, it was a fun, it's always fun. You know, you get to go down and you crawl through the mud at the end and underneath the wires. And I had a good time. I felt really dirty and kind of probably a little smelly, but I knew that, you know, we went to they have hoses everywhere, which is that's a fun way to clean off.
Did you feel strong and powerful though? Or were you feeling like, oh?
I felt pretty good. I'd say I wouldn't say strong and powerful, because I wasn't running a 5K. That's not my jam. You know, when we talk track and field, I had to run. Farthest I ran was 200 meters, and I had to pace myself with that. So but I felt good. I felt like I accomplished something. I had this fun experience with my friends. The one friend that was in that picture with me that you saw, that was my friend John, who I've known since we were 18, 19. And it was just this fun, like he and his wife are the godparents for our oldest daughter. So it's just like, it was this community that we had, this little moment that we got to have. And I felt excited to be able to share that with them. And that I was not passing out or anything, because like I said, I had not worked out in some time.
Yep. Okay. So doing an exercise like that, or doing an event like that, or just going out for a run, sometimes we can get nervous about it, or sometimes, but what we find is when we're in the middle of that act, we're not worried about, you know, somebody's got a bigger house, or somebody can do this better, so why are you even trying? You know, there's a writer out there and that writer's better than you, so why are you doing it? So the thing about acts of kindness is they really, to me, feel a lot like doing a fun sort of event like Nathan did. You have that camaraderie. A lot of times you might have a little anxiety before you begin, but maybe not. If you've done acts of kindness before, maybe you get excited just thinking about doing something fun or helping another person like that. And when we talked about thoughts last week, we talked about the hurry and the worry and the jury, and how we sit in our mind with that and how dangerous that can be. But when we're actually out there moving, doing something, Nathan wasn't thinking about the hurry, worry, and jury. He really wasn't. He was in the moment. He was in the mud, right? And so that's where we want to be when it comes to kindness. And so not all acts of kindness are created the same. For instance, probably if I would have just, taken a bucket of mud in Nathan's driveway and just kind of dumped it on him, he would have been like, well, that was not nice, Nicole. Like, that didn't feel great. And now I have to go wipe this all off and clean this all up.
Yeah, I wouldn't have cared for that so much.
Yeah, right? That would not have been your thing. But because it was part of an event like this, because it was something you were looking forward to, it was fun. It was great. So, not all acts of kindness are created equally. And that's why we like to talk about the science behind kindness, because there are 4 feel-good chemicals in your body that are released when you do an act of kindness. And the first one are your endorphins. And so, Nathan, you had some endorphins going when you were in that mud run, because endorphins are kind of they're released very easily when you do exercise. They are your fight or flight sort of, what's my word, Nathan? Fight or flight. Response. Thank you. I was like, there's a word and it's an easy word and I don't know it. Yes, it's the fight or flight response in your body. And also, when you hear about runner's highs, if people run a lot and they get a runner's high, which apparently Nathan does after 200 meters.
That's about all it takes.
Endorphins are what you're hearing about when you hear about that runner's high. So the neat thing is that many times an act of kindness will take you out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to begin that race. You're going to have to put on your shoes, right? And so it can make you a little nervous. And that's not a bad thing. Now, we need to be careful that we're not putting ourselves in danger or at risk beyond, what's safe for us. But when we leave our comfort zone a little bit, that fight or flight response kicks in. And that's when we get those endorphins rolling. And the feeling that comes from endorphins is your anti-pain sort of chemical within the body. Endorphins are the ones that are going to help release that pain. So that's number 1. Number 2 is serotonin. I love serotonin. I love serotonin so much, people, that I actually take a supplement of serotonin. Serotonin is your body's anti-anxiety and antidepressive chemical. And so I take a supplement of serotonin, which is an anti-anxiety medication. And I take that above and beyond the serotonin that I try to develop through my daily habits, because I am on a drug for cancer to keep the cancer away. So the chemicals in my body are a little messed up. And in order to not, wake up in the morning and hyperventilate, from the cancer medication, I take the anti-anxiety, which, is formed from the serotonin. Now, serotonin is pretty neat because it's being your anti-anxiety and your antidepressive. It can be manipulated a little bit. So 2 different ways that are really fun for manipulating your serotonin. And the first is when you are doing an act of kindness, serotonin doesn't know the difference between fake and reality. It doesn't know if you're imagining something or if it's actually happening at that moment. So if you do an act of kindness and then you lay in bed at night and you think about the difference that you made in someone's life that day, that serotonin is re-released. And so that's really powerful because, it's like double bang for the buck. You definitely want that to happen. And fun study for you from the University of British Columbia. I did tell some of you I would be showing up with some statistics from the University of British Columbia. The researchers there found that people with very, very high levels of anxiety who committed to doing acts of kindness intentionally 6 days a week, so pretty much consistently every day, came back and reported drastically lower levels of anxiety. And, from just a me to you sort of thing here, I feel like that makes sense, because when I get my mind off of myself and I'm looking at you and just trying to love you better, doesn't it make sense that it makes me feel better? What do you think, Nathan? Does that make sense?
Definitely makes sense.
Yeah. I'm going to pause here. We are 2 in. We talked about endorphins and we talked about serotonin, but I want to see if anyone else checked in. So Tracy Larson says it's sunny in Ohio. And Lisa Hunter, welcome, Lisa. She said, I kept repeating the fruit of the spirit and then couldn't remember what I was thinking about. Yay! That's the whole reject and replace. And Nathan has some show notes in there that talk about I'm trying to find a good show note for you, Nathan. Look in the show notes if you want some information about doing that 5K or anything like that. So Lisa, all right. Lisa says this is making perfect sense. For the rest of you who are watching, I would love for you to comment. I would love for you to ask questions. I would love to hear you say, oh, this is the chemical that I want in my body. So right now we've talked about endorphins. We've talked about that, the anti-pain, the pain relief in your body. We've talked about the anxiety relief through serotonin in the body. And now we're going to move on and we're going to talk about dopamine. Ah, sweet, sweet dopamine. I want you all to answer this question. Are you ready? Have you ever purchased anything that you didn't need just because you wanted a little treat? You wanted to feel better? Or have you ever eaten anything that you knew you didn't really need? Like, for me, it's like a pint of Ben and Jerry's. I love it. And I don't need it. And I know that I don't need it. But boy, oh boy, if I've had a really long day, I take great delight in being able to sit on the couch watching Netflix, eating Ben and Jerry's. Nathan,
No, I've never done that. Didn't do that recently at all.
Yes, you did. I was watching you.
Yes, I do. Especially food. Man, I have a bad sweet tooth, and sometimes it's like, bless my wife's heart because she keeps me healthy. Although left to my own devices, it would be a bad situation.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, anybody out there ever buy anything that you didn't need or ever eat anything that you knew you didn't need just because you want to feel better? And sometimes we feel like I deserve it. All right. Lori last night said, yes, Cheetos. Oh, yeah. And then I hope that you licked the orange off of your finger. You did? You did that too, Nathan?
I said, I understand that. Cheetos.
Yep. Hey, Brent, by the way, mayor of Pelican Rapids joining us. Celebrity sighting. Can we get applause here, everyone? Celebrity sighting. Yeah. Lisa Hunter says she eats popcorn. Okay. So there we go. I'm gonna go back to my little banners here. Oops, hold on. I got to get Lisa off there. She'll be hanging out with us the whole time, which is fine, Lisa. Oh, Sarah says Taco Bell. Sarah, where'd you come from? Okay, so that's dopamine. Dopamine lights up the brain's pleasure center as if you were the receiver of an act of kindness instead of the giver of an act of kindness. And, that's kind of exciting because if you look at the flip of it, so follow me on this. Kindness lights up the pleasure center of your brain, okay? So it lights up the good stuff. It makes you feel good. The flip, the reverse of that we're seeing in research is from Dr. Brad Bushman from Ohio State. He's done a decade worth of research on anger pathways in the brain. And what he's found is that when you express anger, your brain lights up a little connectivity. So it knows how to get to the anger faster and stronger next time. It's like your brain is helping you get to the emotional reaction you want to get to faster. So there is an anger pathway that lights up in the brain. So then let's flip it conversely again. And when we talk about dopamine in the brain and how it lights up the pleasure center, we know that when we do an act of kindness, we are going to feel rewarded. So that's dopamine. Oxytocin is the other one, the fourth one that we've talked about. And oxytocin is your cuddle hormone. Dr. David Hamilton kind of coined it the cuddle hormone. And that's because there's an emotional warmth that's released during an act of kindness. Now, on a side note, oxytocin also releases nitric oxide, which opens your blood vessels and lowers your blood pressure. So it's cardioprotective as well. So it's good for you physically, mentally, emotionally. You're going to feel all of that. So we've talked about endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin. I want to hear from you in the comments right now. What's your drug of choice as far as chemical of choice in your body? Which one would you like to see more of? Do you want to see endorphins? Do you feel like you need a pain reliever? Do you need an anxiety reliever? Do you need to feel rewarded? Or do you just need a good cuddle? I know right now the worst thing about this quarantine for me is the fact that I can't hug people. Nathan, are you a hugger?
I am. It's a problem.
Yeah. You what?
I told my wife when this was like, I just want to go hug. I just want to go hug all the people, and she's like, "Oh." She has a bubble, which is good. We balance each other out because she has a healthy social bubble, and I don't know what a bubble is.
I go straight in for the hug, and then I ask afterwards, like, "Oh, do you mind if I hug you?" And I've had people say before, "Yeah, I'm not really a hugger," but I'm like, "Well, that's okay. I'm a double hugger for both of us." So yeah, okay. Let's see, Nathan, who we've got. Oh yeah, okay. So this is funny. Courtney Young says quarantine online shopping is real.
And Courtney works. She's one of our Lost and Found staff. She's our graduate research assistant. She's great. A lot of our social media posts credit to Courtney. She's very good at all the things. So, yay, Courtney! Good to hang out with you here.
And Kristen Matz can relate to that. She says back when life was normal and you could go places, she liked to go buying things. And yes. Okay. So Lisa says she likes the oxytocin. She likes cuddling with her grandbabies. And it's really hard right now when we can't get that physical touch that we need. And Teresa's on my kindness team. She said, you just can't get too many hugs. And it's true. Anytime anyone does anything nice for me, I just want to hug them. You know, they leave it on my doorstep and I want to run out and hug them. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I got to stay inside,
6 feet.
Yeah, 6 feet. Yep, 6 feet. Yep. Kristen says she'd like the anxiety relief. I hear you on that one. And okay, I'm going to say this name wrong. What do you think? Elif? I don't know how to say it, but I'm so glad you're with us. And you found that reading scripture out loud can produce those positive chemicals. Absolutely. I'll feel chills on my body with that sometimes too. Oh, and shout out to my mom from Sarah who needs a hug. Me too, Mama. We all need hugs. Okay, so we were talking about, oops, I got to get Sarah back off there. Hold on. I'm going to get really good at technology one day and you're all going to be so shocked. All right, so Nathan. Okay, so we know we've got these 4 chemicals, the 4 feel-good chemicals, right? We know they're going to flow through your body when you do an act of kindness, but I have mentioned that not all acts of kindness are created equally. And that comes from this amazing researcher named Dr. Alan Lux. And Alan ran a Big Brother, Big Sister organization in New York and has done just all kinds of amazing research on different things. But what he noticed when he was running the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization was that some people would come back and report just these great feelings after being involved in the program. And other people it was like, meh, I was fine, And so he wanted to know why volunteers in general sometimes have what he called this helper's high. Why are some of them getting this high, like a runner's high, only from helping, while other people aren't? And he said that there were 3 reasons in his research, 3 things that needed to happen in order to create that helper's high. And the first is that the helping had to be consistent. And we saw that, right, with the University of British Columbia students that they worked with and the subjects that they worked with. They saw that those who did it consistently and did an act of kindness 6 days a week were able to come back and report these elevated feel-good feelings and lower anxiety. So the consistency is part of it. The second is personal contact. And personal contact is the idea that, sometimes we need to write a check to the homeless shelter or the food bank or Lost and Found or wherever. Sometimes we need to write a check and mail it in, and we can feel good about that. But sometimes when we really want to get that helper's high and really get some of those feel good chemicals flowing, we need to have personal contact. We need to be able to speak to someone or look someone in the eye, even if it's just, on Zoom or Facebook or whatever. We need to be able to look at someone else and know that they see us and we see them. And then the third one is that many times it needed to involve strangers. So here's my question. Have you ever, let's say, sent a birthday card to, let me pick on my mother-in-law. Have you ever sent a birthday card to your mother-in-law and you're like, yep, done, check it off the list, I did it? Nathan, have you ever done that?
Well, I'm not, I probably should send cards is what I'm feeling convicted of, because that's not a skill set. But yes, I've had that happen with like, oh yeah, it's this anniversary. I should have remembered that earlier. I'll make sure I make the call.
Yeah. Or just the idea that there is something that you're going to do that's kind, but you're doing it because you have to do it. Have you ever felt that way?
Yeah, I have, for sure.
Anybody out there want to comment in on anything they've ever felt that way about? I know that sometimes we confuse duty with delight. And duty is something we need to do, and delight is where the kindness comes in from that. So when we're talking about, our kindness involving strangers sometimes, picking on my mother-in-law again, Nathan, you need to start sending your relatives more cards. But if I just am checking it off my list and I'm like, oh, I'm going to send a card, because it's, Nathan, I'm going to send you a card because it's your birthday, because I feel like I have to, right? But if I'm thinking to myself, Nathan is such a great guy, I have so much fun with him when we get to see each other online. I just, I want to go get him a card and tell him that I think he's just awesome. And then I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write something in it special. I'm going to mail it to you. That's a delight. Okay. That's where that helper's high can come in. You're being consistent, you're having personal contact, and it's involving strangers or someone, if anyone has ever, have you ever unloaded the dishwasher in your house as an act of kindness to your wife, Nathan?
Yes. I mean, I'm on dishes duty. For me, it's like if I go and like, I start bust out the vacuum or I start folding laundry, that's when she knows that. My wife's, I make fun of her a little bit, but she's wonderful. I'm just going to clarify. But I've said my wife's love language is, it's acts of cleaning.
Yes.
So if I told her the other day, I'm like, I'm going to go clean the bathrooms. And she goes, you love me. I said, I do.
Yeah, right? But the funny thing is, when we do those things over and over again for our kids, or like you're on dish duty now, like this is not an act of kindness you're doing. You're not going to get a helper's high from unloading the dishwasher because you're expected to do it. It's your family. It's not involving, any kind of personal contact. And yet when you go clean the bathroom and you've looked your wife in the eyes and she says, you love me, all of a sudden you feel kind of good about it, don't you?
Yeah. And it made me want to clean the bathroom more, which is unintended consequence.
Yeah, no, that's scary. Don't go there. Oh, so the point of this being that, sometimes it's great to write a check. Sometimes it's great to be the person who prepares the meal and delivers it to someone's front steps. But sometimes it's great, especially when we get out of this quarantine time, to invite someone into your backyard and grill out with them, spend some time with somebody who you don't know very well, or who you don't interact with all that often, or that you don't do acts of kindness for all that often, and let it be special, because that's where the helper's high will come in. So here's the next question. Well, let's look at the comments quick. Maybe I'll pop Nathan back on here. We're going to see if anyone wanted to answer me on Ooh, let's see. Barb says, sending cards gives me so much joy, knowing it's bringing the recipient so much happiness. Yes, yes, exactly. You just can imagine what that other person is thinking, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, let's see.
See
Not
that? Oh,
what?
I saw that Lisa said that there's people that she feels like she needs to be kind to because they're family, but it doesn't give her joy to do it.
Right. So please, Lisa, do not confuse that with kindness. Okay. That is a part of our duty as a human to do nice things for other people. But when we call that kindness, we say then, oh, kindness depletes me. Nope. Real kindness will not deplete you because you've got these 4 feel-good chemicals. It will constantly create more energy in your body. So if you're feeling depleted from kindness, then you need to take another look at exactly what you're doing and whether you're becoming indebted to someone or they're becoming indebted to you. And there's a, strangeness there. All right, Nathan, we're going to move on to who benefits the most from an act of kindness. Nathan, do you want to tell us who do you think benefits the most?
I mean, I'm going to feel like it probably is the person who's doing the act of kindness. I mean, we'd like to think, what? Oh, no.
I just moved you off the screen and said wrong.
You didn't even play me out. You didn't even give me music to play me out. That's the thing that hurts the most.
You are wrong. Woo! No, you are not wrong. You're a third right, actually, because the giver, the receiver, and the act of and the witness all benefit from an act of kindness. So this I learned, I did not know this. This I learned from Brooke Jones, who's the vice president of the Random Acts of Kindness Foundation. I have a podcast. I had her on the podcast in season 1. And she said, Nicole, kindness actually works as a trifecta. So the giver, the receiver, and the witness all benefit from an act of kindness. Now, Nathan, pay attention because I'm going to quiz you right now. Are you ready?
Gotta make notes.
Okay. When we have an act of kindness that we're a part of, okay, the person who is giving is receiving those feel-good chemicals because they're doing it. The person who's receiving feels those feel-good chemicals, right? Because they're receiving. But what about the witnesses? Who are the witnesses and how are they witnessing this? And how is it possible they get those feel-good chemicals flowing as well? Can you think of a situation, Nathan, in which there would be a giver, receiver, and a witness?
I was actually just, as you were saying that, I was thinking something like picking up someone's wallet when they drop it at the store, and or they drop something, and they don't even know they dropped it, and you chase them down. I mean that's happened to me on both ends of that spectrum, where I've lost my dropped my keys, or I've seen someone else drop their keys and run them up, or just seeing someone be nice to someone else. Just yesterday we went on a walk, and my 3-year-old is a chatty Cathy. I don't know where she got it from. Can't figure it out. But she saw some random people on the street, and she just went up and she had this little dandelion, her sunflower, and she wanted to show them her sunflower. And it just brightened their day. It was just this kind of wholesome moment that only children who don't know any better, especially don't know anything about quarantine very well, 6 feet apart, I had to keep her back. But so, I mean, I can think of that. And I think too, with the witnesses don't even actually maybe even have to see it sometimes. They get to see the change in demeanor, what from you doing a kind act or someone else receiving a kind act. I feel like you come home or something else and what happened? You're in a really good mood right now. Or you're totally different.
That, yeah.
So yeah. I don't know. Those are the ones that I thought of. I don't know if they're good examples.
The story, right? So you come home, you're in this great mood. Your wife's like, "What's wrong with you? Why you're in such a good mood?" And then you get to retell the story, and she becomes the witness to your story. And the cool thing is, because you've retold that story, you now have serotonin flowing through your body again, because again, it can't tell the difference between reality and imaginary. So that's pretty exciting. I had a situation once in Chicago. I was downtown Chicago and I was walking down the street and I saw coming toward me a man, a large man, and he had two coffees in his hand. And he's walking, and without skipping a beat, he stops. He hands one to a person who looks to be without a home on the side of the street next to the building. And he looks at him and he hands it to him and he kind of smiles and winks and says, you know, I could just almost see his mouth moving, saying, "Have a great day," or "Love you, buddy," or whatever he said. And then he kept walking. Well, he's now walking toward me. And I looked at him and I was like, like I did this. And he's like, you know, and he kind of winked at me and, you know, but I was so excited to have been able to witness this totally random interaction with two people I didn't know. Right. And it's just awesome when we get to be either the giver or the receiver or the witness. It's good stuff. It's fun stuff. So here we need to talk about something special about that. With the kindness trifecta. If you're going to be the giver, we know what that feels like, right? You're the one starting the action. If you're going to be the receiver, we sort of have to wait for that to happen. It just, you know, it's nice when we can really be aware and notice all of the things that are happening for us. But sometimes we feel like, you know, nobody's really done any acts of kindness for me recently. And then we have the witness, and the witnesses are so great because you might think you need to wait until you see something cool, like that guy walking down the street toward me, or Nathan with his daughter giving, you know, a dandelion away. You might think you have to wait and notice those things. But the fact is, because of where we live and the time we live in, and especially now during quarantine, we can feed ourselves kindness. So you're going to turn on the news every day, right? And or somehow maybe you're listening to it, maybe you're reading it, maybe you're watching it on TV, but you're getting some news. How much are you balancing that negativity with the good stuff? Because it matters. So if we are going through social media and we're sifting through social media and we're just looking and we're feeling, you know, or if we are reading article after article about COVID-19 and all of a sudden we're either going like this or we're going, yeah, go to that spot where you can be the witness of kindness so that you can rebalance the chemicals in your body and you can get those feel-good chemicals flowing again. And so how do you do that? I subscribe to a morning newsletter called Inspire More. That's a great one. Sarah, if you're with me, will you put Inspire More into the notes for people, please? And then I love to watch videos of cute puppies. And the cute puppies aren't inherently anything kind, but I'll tell you what, there's nothing like being able to see that, or, you know, just animals or nature or anything like that in general, to remember that the world's a pretty good place. And so, Nathan, what do you have on your social media that helps you release those feel-good chemicals?
I'll tell you what, I am an avid lover of The Office. Probably many humans are, because it's just so good. That's neither here nor there. It's not a plug for The Office, sorry. But because I love The Office, and I kind of, you know, like just, yeah, these characters that have become just a big part of, like, you know, this, my wife and I, we said like we could watch this show forever. But because of that, you know, we follow some of these people, and I've been really pumped every week to watch John Krasinski's Some Good News thing on YouTube. I mean, my morning routine on our, you know, we have like the integrated Google Home thing, and it starts reading me all these news articles, and it's like, oh, it's getting stressed. But then, you know, for sure, once a week, you get to see all the good happening in the world, and you get to see things like, you know, I just love that he features stories of people who are just like experiencing things, and he goes out of his way with a whole bunch of other people. Like, I mean, we have famous people on a platform and on a pedestal in a lot of ways, in our society and our, you know, mentality, but he goes and gets these people and he just brings them to regular people like you or I, it's like, it's so crazy. I love I think it was episode 2, like where he had the little girl who couldn't go to Hamilton, and he got Lin-Manuel Miranda to come, and then all of a sudden the whole cast of Hamilton starts singing to this girl, and then you have like her watching it on Zoom, and then her mom filming her on Zoom, and like watching you see the little girl like just she can't talk. I mean, I still think about it. I'm just like, oh, it just showed, like, I don't know. There's a lot of good things in the world, and I never thought I would get on TikTok. My wife got me on TikTok, but there's so many things that make me laugh so hard.
Right. And laughter is such great medicine. I mean, laughter is kindness to yourself. And that's super cool. Tracy hopped in here and she said, there's so many acts of kindness showing up online and on the news right now. So we all get to witness it a lot. And that is so true. That is one of the things that I've loved. Honestly, that's one of the beautiful unfoldings of COVID-19 and in a quarantine, is that people are getting really creative and they're going online and sharing some of those things. So I really love that. Sarah put up in the Inspire More website. So you go to Inspire More, and then they have a morning. Every morning they send out a little thing, and sometimes they'll have John's latest good news episode or whatever. Is that what's some good news? Is that what it is? SGN.
Yeah.
Good news.
Yeah, SGN. It just cracks me up, and I don't know why, but every time he like stands up at the end and like he's wearing a skirt or board shorts or I don't know, it just gets me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I just wanted to encourage people, when we talk about the 4 feel-good chemicals, when we talk about how we can really get the most out of those chemicals, and then we can talk about also who gets the benefit of those chemicals. And so it's so important to remember that you don't always have to be the giver. You don't always have to be the receiver. Sometimes we can just sit back and witness and just love the way that other people are doing kindness, and that too will matter in your body. So that's pretty important. What else, Nathan? What do you want to talk about? Or what sort of questions do people have out there? If you've got a question, I would love to hear it. What about you, Nathan? Is there anything that was confusing about what I've been talking about or anything?
I wouldn't say confusing. I will say just some of the things that you shared were very affirming. I chuckled once again. Like I said, I don't know where my daughter gets her extroverted nature from, but we were on that same walk we were on yesterday. I got real energized. So did my wife. She's like, "Oh, we got to go outside." I'm like, "I got to talk to 2 whole people, like my neighbor and our UPS driver." And just like interacting with another human being, and she's like, "We're very different people." I'm like, yes we are.
Yeah. Well, and I am more of an introvert than people would expect, but I get such a kick now out of waving at people, like, "Hi, like we're in this together. Hey." And today the postman was in his truck and he waved back at me, and it just made me feel so good when I was outside. It's funny. What are you drinking from?
My water. That's how I keep track of how much water I'm supposed to be drinking in the day.
Good morning. This
was one of those. This was a COVID purchase. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Yes, okay. So that would be. Let's look at our notes. That would be part of the dopamine, lighting up the brain's pleasure center with shopping. Okay.
Yeah, it got here. My wife goes, "What is that?" I said, "Help me know how to drink as much water as I'm supposed to."
Anywhere on that, does it say pee your pants?
Nope. It just tells you to keep drinking, no excuses. And I think wet yourself must be hidden in there somewhere, but it's small print,
Okay, good. I have mine. Mine has my name on it. Let's see. Isn't that pretty? It's all sparkly. My
daughter put dinosaur stickers on mine, so.
Oh, that's nice too. I don't have dinosaurs. Kindness is contagious. This is Jessica's tumblers. A little shout out to Jessica's tumblers if you need one of those. Okay, so I think, let's see, one more thing. Sandy says, "I so agree on all the good happening around us right now. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, what color your skin is. It doesn't matter. Nothing. What you have or don't have or have done or haven't done. None of it matters. None of it matters." And so that's one of the things that I hope that we all take from this when it's done. So I would love to share, Nathan, a story about how we can use kindness as a form of therapy in our lives, and how it helped me during one of the most difficult times in my life. I'd love to share that story, but first, I'm hoping that you can tell people again, just remind them what LNF is and other things that you've got coming up.
Yeah, like I said, we just if you caught us on the front end, you'll hear it twice. Sorry about it. But Lost and Found, we're focused on building mental health and resilience specifically in college students. Right now, we're in the business of focusing on building resilience for anyone and everyone. All our stuff is online right now. We're putting it in the public sphere so anyone and everyone can access it. A lot of what we do is, on college campuses, we focus on programming, we focus on building campus chapters and research so we can figure out what's working and what's not so we can be part of the solution in the realm of mental health. So that's what we do. That's where we are. Like I said, we're living online. So there's a lot of Facebook Live events we've been doing. We've been doing these since, oh gosh, March 18th, 21st. I don't know, middle of March. It's been almost a month, over a month. It's the 22nd today. Math's hard. It's fine.
Who needs math?
So we've been doing some breathwork sessions, yoga nidra, which is like meditation and mindfulness, some journaling workshops. We're doing the kindness hour. We have so tomorrow we have a student loan boot camp we're doing. So if you have students who are worried about what student loans look like in COVID, check out our Facebook events. They can register there. It's free through Lutheran Social Services here in Sioux Falls, through the LSS Financial Resources area specifically. We have the Magnificent Seven Thursday night with Envive Chiropractic talking about wellness. Sunday night we have more yoga. We had breath work last night with our friends at Breathe and Believe. I mentioned our journaling workshops. Kaya Ansor, she's a speaker and she also is a professor at the University of South Dakota. And then I also mentioned our upcoming fundraiser for our USD chapter, the Nickies Run. So if you want to look at that, it's a virtual 5K. You can run on a treadmill, run the laps in your house, run outside, do whatever, just not getting together in person. But feel free to check that out if that's of interest. I put that link, as well as links about if you want to get in touch with me more. All that can be found in the event chat. So
Awesome. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for being here with us, Nicole. We really appreciate it. This has been a great experience. I've had a lot of great feedback from people and I've really enjoyed it. It's been great. I feel like I'm learning a lot about a lot of the different things, and just that taking those moments to appreciate the small things that make a big difference has been great. So I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us here.
My pleasure. Next week, I'll be back next Wednesday, and we titled it Just Smile, How One Act Can Change Someone Else's Day. But basically what I'm going to share are 6 ways to draw kindness into your life. Like imagine you are a magnet and you are drawing kindness toward you. And so there are some really easy things that we can do to just have all the great kindness in the world come zipping toward us. And so that's what I'm going to share next Wednesday. But I would love, as we close out, just to share a little story with you about really the therapeutic benefits of kindness during your darkest moments. And so in 2015, I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer on my 40th birthday. I go to the doctor every year on my birthday, just so I remember to do it. And on that particular birthday, my 40th, the doctor found 2 lumps in my left breast. So stage 2 lobular carcinoma, they called it. And I was pretty good because I'm so intentional and always looking for kindness. I was pretty good about staying in a good headspace most of the time. But when I went dark, I went dark. And so I remember one night in particular, I was laying in bed and it was 4:30 in the morning, and I woke up and I rolled over and I looked outside and it was storming, like this crazy thunder and lightning. And I just felt so angry in my soul and so sad and so just disturbed, and, almost to the point of like, why me? Now, we don't ask that question in our household. We ask, why not me? So, but this time I wanted to ask why, and make it go away. Those are my things. I was feeling very stormy outside. It was very stormy. And then as I'm laying there trying to fall back to sleep, I think about the woman who's living in my neighbor's yard, literally in a tent in my neighbor's yard. And she is a beautiful woman. She's a recovering drug addict, and she's been clean now I've known her for 5 years. So she's been clean for 5 years. And her name is Dawn. And Dawn is just a special person in my heart. But at the time, I didn't know Dawn very well. And I just knew she was living in a tent on my neighbor's lawn. And I knew that Dawn got up every morning at about 4:30 in the morning, and she would walk across town to her job at a dry cleaner's. And she didn't have a car. She didn't have any transportation, so she would walk. It's 4:30 in the morning. It's thunderstorming, and I'm thinking about Dawn and how she's getting up and she is going to walk across town right now. And so, Nathan, I'm wondering if you think that, knowing me, as you know me, did I pull up my big boots and go drive her to work? Did I hire a cab to take her to work, or an Uber rather, or did I go back to sleep?
I think based on the story we're going, I think you went back to sleep.
Thanks, Nathan.
Actually, but I would say the first one. I would say the first one though. Put on your boots and get out and drive her there.
Yeah, my big girl boots and drive her there. No, you were right. I rolled over and I went back to sleep. Yeah. It didn't feel like my best moment. But the thing is, kindness doesn't ask for more than you have to give. And in that moment, I knew I didn't have physically, emotionally, financially, I just didn't have what I felt like I needed to give in that moment. So the easier choice was to roll over and go back to bed. So fast forward to, 2:00 that afternoon, and I am driving downtown and I see Dawn walking home from her job, and it's a beautiful sunny day. The storm is gone, but I am still feeling quite sorry for myself. And I see Dawn, I pull over, I roll down the window and I say, "Hey, Dawn, how are you doing? Do you need a ride home?" And she said, "No, it's beautiful. I'm going to walk. Thank you though." And I said, "Dawn, are you still walking to work every morning? Because I noticed it was really storming this morning." And as the words were coming out of my mouth, I just so wanted to push them back in, because I thought, I am opening up a can of worms that I want nothing to do with right now. And so I asked her that question, and she said, "Yeah, I am. But I think by Friday, I will have enough money to buy a bike when I get my paycheck." And I looked at her and I kind of looked at her funny and I said, "You need a bike?" I said, "Dawn, I have a bike in my garage. Come look at it, see if you want it." And just as a side note, like, this was just an extra bike in my garage that I have no idea how we ended up with an extra women's bike, but we did. And no one was using it. No one was going to use it. It was just sitting there. So she came over later that afternoon, about 4:30 in the afternoon, and I wheeled the bike out, and she very shyly walked up the driveway. And I said, "Here it is, do you want it?" And she said, "Yeah, I think if it's okay with you that I'll just use it until Friday, and then I'll bring it back when I purchase the new one." And I said, "Dawn, no. You don't need to purchase a new one. You can have this one. I want to just give it to you." She looked at me kind of shocked and a little taken aback. And she said, why would you do that for me? And I just said to her, I don't know if it matters or not, but I see how hard you're working to create a new life. I see that you're trying to do something really hard. And I bet a lot of days it feels like it's not worth it and it doesn't matter. But I just wanted you to know that I see you. And, I hadn't planned those words. It wasn't anything magical that I said. I just wanted her to know that I saw her and I cared about her. And as she rode her bike away, and I stood there in the driveway and I kind of watched her going, the thing about it is that I didn't have cancer in my body at that moment. All I had was strength and power and that feeling like I had accomplished something. Like I was the one, Nathan, who had done the Tough Mudder. I was the one who had done the warrior dash. You know, I started out that morning and I felt like I could not lift one foot or put one foot in front of the other. I could not do it. But I ended up being a part of this act of kindness, and it felt like I won the race. So bringing it back, Nathan, I want to show everybody your picture in case they missed it earlier. They should see your special picture.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
This is Nathan in his red shorts with his man bun.
It's a bad time. That was an interesting choice. I'll leave it at that.
No, you are handsome. So, anyway, I wanted to share that story, that it's kindness so often feels like it's about other people, but the life you transform with kindness is your own. So Nathan, thank you for having me here today. Thank you everyone for joining in here. And, you know, Lisa said you received so much more than you gave. Yes. Like kindness is supposed to be altruistic. Well, you know, sure. But science, definitely, our bodies were created to be kind because we get so much back. So yeah, thank you for everyone who had joined us today. Nathan, anything else you want to add before we?
I just say don't miss out on Nicole's session of a section next week Wednesday. It's our last session together for this round, but you know, maybe we'll do more. I'm having fun. Hopefully we haven't scared you off yet, Nicole.
No, I'm having a blast. But next time you come up with all the information and I'll just add in my stories.
Pass.
Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for the Kindness Hour. I'm Nicole Phillips. That's Nathan Hofer from Lost and Found. And we appreciate you. We see you. We care about you. And go be kind. Kindness matters.